sir. Yes, ma'am.
Jeremiah's salvation, Princess's need to get better, and direction to know what to do about my dying van.
About your dying what?
My dying van.
Oh, van.
Yeah. I'd rather the van die than the dogs, but
Gotcha.
so just direction about that. I mean, I'm grateful that there's another. Jeremiah's giving me his old van. So.
All right. Good.
Urgent prayer request?
Yes.
Daniel's grandma and the family. Daniel for traveling. He'll be joining us soon.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and pray, and then we'll jump into it. Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, Brother, thank you, Lord, for this opportunity for us all to gather together, Lord. Thank you for the church that you've given us. And the fact that we can come together in fellowship, and we can worship you in each way, and that we can pray to you, Lord, and we know that you hear prayer. You answering in your time. Help us always be knowledgeable with those kinds of things, and just to know that you're always there. And a couple of specific prayer requests today, Lord. Tuesday coming up, Josh has an interview for his job there. Make it have everybody that has been convicted of him, and just to know that he is the right person for that specific position. For Christian Brother Jeremiah and his salvation, and all the other people that haven't mentioned it for salvation and guidance and conviction. And for a dog and its knee, and for direction for her with her van, what to do next, Lord. You know exactly what needs to happen, so just guide her in a way that's pleasing to you. If you would, Lord, watch over our pastor and his family as they're going to be traveling, for his grandmother too, and what she's going through. And it was good to hear that whether it is her time or not, that soon enough she'll be up there in heaven. And Lord, I just want to make a prayer of all of her, so that soon enough all of us will be in heaven too. And if you would, Lord, just watch over us today as we go forward with this little lesson here, and let it be pleasing to you, and get me out of the way. I ask it all in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, well. Okay, so here's today's Sunday school bit. I wanted to go back a little bit, but not really go back. But okay. Anyway, for Sunday school, this is the verse I like to use. But sanctify the Lord God in your heart. Be ready always to give an answer to any man that asks you the reason, the hopes in you with meekness and fear. From 1 Peter 3:15. That's what we're going to try to do, is give you all some more ammunition, give you some more things to think about, to talk about, because that's kind of what the whole idea behind Sunday school is to learn different things and then use what you learned out in the world, all right? One of the things I like to do for all of Sunday school, and basically everything, is creation. So we're going to go back to creation and go from there. So this is the animal we're going to talk about today. Might be something that everybody knows. What is that? Nothing? Nobody knows what that is? It's a what?
Alligator or crocodile.
It says alligator. It says crocodile. So that means alligators won. There's only two if you voted. It is not an amphibian. This is a crocodile. All right. And don't go and try and figure out which one it is. Just say it's a crocodile or alligator, just like you did. Don't worry about what it is and go in there and try to figure it out. Anyway, I'm going to show you in a little bit what the difference is too. But this is a crocodile. Actually, that's a saltwater crocodile. That's what we're going to be talking about. We'll bounce back and forth about a couple of different ones, but I'll let you know. A saltwater crocodile, that's what the thing is that I'm going to be talking about today. The saltwater crocodile is a large creature. In fact, it's so large, actually, it's a reptile. And for reptiles, it is actually the largest reptile on the planet. Saltwater crocodiles, because of its size. I mean, there's anacondas and reticulated pythons that are longer, but they don't weigh as much as this thing. This is the biggest, all right? Biggest reptile on the planet. One of the things it is the length of these things from 5 to 20 feet. So I put 5 to 20 just to let you know 5 feet is the size of the smallest crocodile, which is called a dwarf crocodile. 20 feet is what the saltwater crocodiles are going to be dealing with. If you think about 20 feet, it kind of shows you one time, if you have a full-size school bus, it's going to start with the very front and go basically to where the back wheels start. I mean, this is a big animal, 20 feet long. All right, now along with that 20 feet, like I said, the dwarf crocodile weighs 40 pounds. The saltwater crocodile will get up to 2,600 pounds. I mean, this is a monster. 20 feet over a ton, so you can imagine. Like I said, this is the biggest reptile on the planet. All right, so we're going to get into a few of its features. It has some back feet. The back feet on this thing are deeply webbed, okay? It's not, well, okay. It has a deeply webbed back feet, and I'll explain why that's important right here in a second. But one thing that the deeply webbed back feet can do, it would allow it to do this. So if you can imagine a 20-foot long animal that weighs a ton and being able to jump 10 feet out of the water, if you're ever going to jump over a river, make sure you're about 15 feet high or higher. In any case, deeply webbed back feet allows you to do things like that and jump out. Wow. But that's not all it does. It's not for propulsion. It does not make him go faster in the water. That's not what those feet being webbed are for. They don't make him go forward. Well, what it is really for is for quick movements and for jumping into the water, obviously. But like, he swims, basically with his tail is what moves him forward, but his feet being webbed in the back, he's able to stop almost immediately, and he's also able to make very, very quick turns. We think of crocodiles and stuff and not being fast. When he moves in the water, these things are really, really fast. And that's basically what he does, is the quick movements from his webbed feet. All right. Now, so that's one thing, but we'll keep on going. For the crocodiles, they have 80 different teeth in their mouths. 80 teeth, if you can imagine that. Out of those 80 teeth, during their time that they're alive, they can be replaced every tooth over 50 times during their lifespan, which they cannot understand and actually measure correctly. So it went anywhere from 50 years old to 350 years old. Really can't get the age, but that's fine. They can't get the age. Anyhow, over their lifetime, the whole teeth complex, every tooth in there can be replaced while they're alive. The thing about their teeth is that they're actually not like normal, you would think of teeth. They're not sharp at all, okay? They're not sharp, they're not serrated, but they're curved. They kind of come down and back. They have this curved appeal to them, but they're not sharp at all. So you would think, why do you have all these 80 teeth that are somewhat curved but not sharp? Why do you think they have so many teeth that are curved, not sharp at all? Why do they have so many?
Curbside appeal?
No, but good one. What's that? So they can spin with it, yeah, but it's not the exact reason. Do it?
Realistically, to pull the food into them.
Kinda. Okay. They're curved because when it clamps down on something, it is not clamping down on something to let it go. Those curved teeth hold whatever it is in place. Just to give you kind of an idea of what it does. So that thing up there, I think that's a yak or wildebeest, it doesn't matter. But once it clamps down, it's got these curved teeth that come into it, slapping down on there. That thing cannot get away from those teeth. And then it'll just start to do exactly what you're talking about. That's called a death spin or a death roll. Once it clamps down on that, it can move back. The thing can't get away. It can just roll around underneath water, and that's what it does. It rolls and rolls and rolls. The thing drowns, and then it can eat it. And it's leisurely time. Another thing they can do, though, I don't know if I'll talk about it, but I might. Like sometimes they'll get like a fish or something that's a little bit too big for one of them to eat. And one of the few reptiles on the planet that's actually social is a crocodile. What they'll do is they'll hold something in their mouth, and 3 or 4 other ones will come to where it's holding it and grab that thing and pull it at all kinds of little parts of it, so each one gets a little piece of the meal. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of gross, but still.
Giant predator social.
Yes, they are social giant predators. Anyway, all right, so curved teeth that keeps things from getting away. All right, so that's kind of what we're talking about. All right, so on top of the curved teeth that go in there, inside their actual mouth, inside their throat, they have what's called a plato flap, or like your palate in your mouth that you think it's the same kind of thing, except for them, it's extended all the way past their throat. And what they can do, they can actually close off their throat to where if they're swimming underwater, water doesn't go back down into their gut, you know what I mean? It blocks it all out while they're swimming around. It's pretty neat that it can do that. And they can actually make it go up and down themselves. They can decide it, or it can be an involuntary response. Another thing they have is a third eyelid. Sounds a little bit different, but if you think about what crocodiles normally would do, or alligator types, they float kind of near the top of the water and they just got their head and their eyes sticking out. Basically what a third eye is for is so if any of the splash, they got that eyelid, it kind of comes from the inside out. So it covers up that right there on top of the water. So if any splashing or anything else or any bugs hits it, it can block it with that third eyelid. Once it goes underwater, it has another eyelid that goes up where it is, so it can kind of see underwater without the water tearing up his eyes. And then it has another eyelid to go to sleep. So yeah, it's pretty neat that it has all three of those and it can do that. Another thing that it has though, is it is able to close up its nose and its ears. So, like I said, if it goes underwater, it can close off its throat, so no water can go in. It has those eyelids, so no water is messing up its eyes. It can also close off its nose when it's underwater, close it off, and it can close off the ears. It doesn't have ears that stick out. It's got what's called a tympanum, kind of inside ears, but it can close off that canal. And it has this ability, like I said, for it as a individual, if you want to call it that, whatever, it can do it on its own, either voluntarily or involuntarily. It can shut it off and not. It has all kinds of properties like that. Crocodiles are semi-aquatic, meaning they spend a lot of the time in the water. They live kind of in the water, but kind of on the land too. Most of their time is spent in the water. Now they do come on land basically to lay eggs. That's pretty much what their land is for. Semi-aquatic, meaning most of their time is spent in the water. All right, and another thing that they are is they're an ambush predator. So the way that works, I can't show any videos. I was going to show some cool videos about that thing clamping down on something and eating it, and it was pretty neat. Turns out, I've actually been flagged on Facebook or whatever it is, like 3 or 4 times. I didn't know. And Jackie was like, don't show these, you're getting flagged. So part of me was like, that's pretty cool that they're going to flag me. It's like almost a badge of honor. But then another side was like, now people aren't going to get to see this. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, couldn't show any cool videos, so I'm sorry. Just get some pictures. But he's an ambush predator. So if right there near the edge of the water, you've probably seen this on TV, water's edge, you have this animal coming up and they're looking into this. It's usually like super muddy water, you can't see anything, but crocodiles have those extra eyelids where they can see underwater, and they'll get right up to the edge of the water, right there at the edge of the water where the land is, and that thing is drinking water, and it shoots out of there. It's got those webbed feet that shoot out, and it's 70-something miles an hour that it comes out at, much faster than people can move. So they don't really hunt people, but they do kill people. Anyway, it jumps out of there real fast. It can grab onto it. That thing, if it grabs onto it, it cannot get away just because of the teeth and the way that they are. They're clamping down. And then it pulls that thing back in the water and does its death roll thing. So they're pretty well adapted to what they are. So ambush predators. That's kind of how it is. They have a varied diet. So if you think about crocodiles, what do they eat? What does their diet consist of? Does anybody got an idea? Meat. It is meat. Yeah, they're full-up carnivores. They don't eat plants, which is good, personally. But yeah, they are carnivores, like full on. And the diet for them is varied. And I'll give you an idea of what they can eat, okay? This is everything that they do eat. In their diet, they will eat fish, which includes crustaceans and mollusks and things like that. So fish, they'll eat amphibians, frogs or salamanders. They eat birds, okay? They eat reptiles, including other saltwater crocodiles. Yes, they eat those too. Reptiles and mammals, they eat those too. You saw a picture a minute ago. So if you look at that list, fish, amphibians, birds, reptiles, and mammals, what do not crocodiles eat? Bugs, plants. Well, they eat bugs too, I'm sure. But they can eat anything that's out there that's meat. They don't eat plants. They eat everything else. Anything that gets in their range, they clamp down and eat it. Yeah, they can do that. All right. One of the ways that they clamp down and eat is their biting ability. Kind of haven't got into it yet. But crocodiles have an amazing biting ability. So they clamp down, hold on with the teeth, pull them back into the water, whatever. But their biting ability is extraordinary, okay? I'm going to give you a couple of examples of some animals. If you think about people, the biting ability of a person is about 100 foot-pounds. 100 to 120, that's about the max range that we can clamp down on something with our jaws, okay? Give you a few other examples. A Rottweiler. Everybody knows what that is, it's a dog. Rottweiler's biting response is a little bit stronger than ours. It's actually 335 foot-pounds, or I'm gonna use newtons up here, so 1,490 newtons is the actual force that comes down, so that's one of them. For a Rottweiler, 1,490. Move up a little bit, a hyena, which is kind of a upgraded dog, if you will. Hyenas have a bite strength of 800 foot-pounds, or 3,600 newtons, if you can imagine that. So they're biting down pretty hard. Let's go a little bit farther. Alligator, which is basically crocodile, right? Or, yeah, it's an alligator. So that's an alligator's biting strength, which is similar to the way that a crocodile handles it. So how does that alligator hit? 2,200 foot-pounds, or 9,800 newtons. 10,000 basically. An alligator clamps down with 10,000 newtons of force. That's amazing. But we'll just keep on going. Great white sharks, right? Heard of those? Yeah. The difference in those is their teeth are not like crocodiles. They're not like curved. They're sharp, pointed, and serrated. So anything they bite, they will just tear it apart. Anyhow, great white though, you've seen those things. When they bite down, a great white hits with 4,095 foot-pounds, or 18,220 newtons. I mean, that's what a great white can hit with. Wow. And that would get us one more time to a saltwater crocodile. Greater or less? Near an alligator? What do you think? Huh? Oh, did the list always go up? Yeah, you're right. I couldn't help that. Come on. Anyway, saltwater crocodile, 7,700 foot-pounds, or 34,000 newtons. Saltwater crocodiles hit and hold with that much force and those curved teeth, bringing it in. Actually, a saltwater crocodile is the strongest clamping force on the planet. Nothing bites as hard as a saltwater crocodile. It's unreal how hard they can hit. Even great whites, I mean, it's almost double a great white shark. Wow. Yeah, but along with that biting force that comes down with that much, one thing that crocodiles and alligators cannot do is open their mouth. They're not very good at opening it. So people can actually hold their mouths closed just with a person's weight. And if you do a saltwater crocodile, don't do this. If you put a rubber band around that, kind of a thick rubber band, you can actually hold their mouth shut with just a rubber band. That's how, strong, not strong, but how weak their opening is. What I'm saying is, don't ever put a rubber band on a crocodile or an alligator and try to figure out, is that an alligator or a crocodile? Don't do that. Let somebody else do it that is goofy. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So yeah, there's their biting strength. Wanted to give you an accidental or an idea. So crocodiles do have a similar species, obviously, and that is the alligator. And one of the ways that you can tell the difference in the two is their snout shape. Okay, their nose, the way that it looks. Crocodiles have more of a V shape versus alligators, which is more of a U shape. Okay, when you go, and crocodiles are usually bigger too. Okay, so if you're going to look at a crocodile and an alligator and try and decide, don't ever do that, is what I'm saying. Don't ever do that, but if you ever get in that situation, you can know that if it's a V shape, oh, that's a crocodile. Don't do that. Anyway, one thing I want to show you though, oh yeah, here's the map. I want to show you this. So if you look on there, the green color are crocodiles, and this is where crocodiles hang out. Versus the yellow, which is alligators. The orange is the gavials, don't worry about them too much. But you can see the crocodile's range where he goes around most of all of Africa, the top end, all of the Philippines, most of the top end of Australia, a little bit into India, and then coming around, and there's just a little bitty section in South America up there in the top corner where they actually mix with alligators. So you can tell alligators versus crocodiles. Now, what's the big difference besides the size? What's the difference in alligators versus crocodiles? How do we know which one is which besides the size difference? Freshwater, oh, kind of. Both of them do fresh and salt, but yeah. Shape of the legs.
One will see you later and one after a while.
I was thinking that, I didn't want to say it. Thank you.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
After a while, crocodile, way too much.
Wow, you still got that one, huh? Yeah. Yeah, if you look at the map up there, the thing that I wanted you to notice about this is crocodiles and alligators, the way that they're speciated, geography. Can you see that? They're separated by geography. So alligators, some of them going together or whatever. A couple of weeks ago, I told you about the polar bear and the Kodiak bear, saying the Kodiak bear is a subspecies of the grizzly bear. But what is the difference that they decided grizzly bear, polar bear? Geography. Just like that. So is an alligator a subspecies of a crocodile or a different species? Different species, just like a Kodiak bear is a different species. So all the history books are wrong. They say whatever. They're not saying that the Kodiak bear is the biggest mammalian predator on the planet. It's the Kodiak bear, not the polar bear. And this is why, geography. I wanted to show you the map. All right, anyway, moving on. Let's go and do something in the Bible I want to show you. So if you would, go over to Job, chapter 40. I have time. I want to show you something in Job too. Chapter 40, and then go down to verse 15. Yeah, got to kind of read the whole account because of what it's going to entail. So anyway, all right, Job chapter 40 and verse 15 says this, starting at there. Verse 15, behold now behemoth, which I made with thee. This is God speaking. Which I made with thee. He eateth grass as an ox. Lo, now his strength is in his loins, and his force is in the navel of his belly. He moveth his tail like a cedar. The sinews of the stones are wrapped together. His bones are strong pieces of brass. His bones are like bars of iron. He's the chief in the ways of God. He that made him can make a sword to approach unto him. Sure, the mountains bring him food, bring him forth food. Where all the beasts of the field play. He lieth under the shady trees and the covert of the reed and fens, and the shady trees cover him with their shadow, and the willows of the brook compass about him. Behold, he drinketh up a river, and hasteth not. He trusteth he can drop Jordan into his mouth. He taketh it in with his eyes, his nose pierceth through snares. All right. Job chapter 40, verse 15 is talking about behemoth. What is it? Anything else? Yeah, I kind of agree with that. And there's several Bible versions out there that tend to define what behemoth is. So if you never read it or not, they'll say that behemoth is an elephant, a hippopotamus, or a rhino. That's the things most of them say. Holding on behemoth, he hath grasped an ox. Correct. Lo, now his strength in his loins. Maybe. His bones are strong pieces of brass. He's chief in the ways of God. Elephants, rhinos, and hippos meet all that characteristic. The only issue would be, he moveth his tail like a cedar. If you ever seen an elephant or a hippo or a rhino, their tails don't look like cedars. They're just little bitty short things, you know? So those three things that are put out there to say, well, this is what behemoth is. No, it don't match exactly what the Bible says, all right? He doesn't move his tail like a cedar to match all that other stuff. So anyway, let's go with another one. The identity of that thing. Does he move his tail like a cedar tree? Yeah. He absolutely does. His bones are strong pieces of brass. Probably his bones are like bars of iron. Yeah. Chief of the ways of God. This is an apex predator. Apex. Nothing fights him. Nothing goes against him. Nothing does him. He's chief in the ways of God. All right. Sure, the mountains bringing forth food, or the beasts of prey. He lieth under the shady tree. Sure. The cover. He's a reptile. But if you look at the very first verse right there, behold now the behemoth which I made with thee, he eateth grass as an ox. Crocodiles don't eat eating plants whatsoever. So he doesn't meet all the characteristics of Job chapter 40, verse 15, when some people have actually said that it's a crocodile. No. Might make the cedar tree, but it doesn't fit any of the other characteristics. So anyway, behemoth, I believe, and I think Crystal did too, sauropod dinosaur is what I believe. But we'll go into that later. Anyway, it's not a crocodile. All right. So next part though, like I said, he is an apex predator, so nothing hunts it. All right. And then when we try to figure out where it came from, you will often get an evolutionary explanation for its origin. Now I went to Wikipedia, the bastion of all knowledge, to find out about crocodiles and see what they said. And it led me to a couple of different sites. So anyway, on their evolutionary origin, the one that I found I think was the closest was 251 million years ago, that crocodiles came from this other species of animal which had long legs. So apparently the long legs were getting in the way, so it had to shorten the legs. And that happened about 250 million years ago. Okay. About 55 million years ago, apparently, crocodiles and alligators then split and became two separate species, basically on their geography, I guess. I don't know why. Anyway, and then about 2 million years ago, they said that the crocodile has remained unchanged for about 2 million years. Okay. How do you know that it's remained unchanged for 2 million years? Because we saw the fossils. How do you know the fossil's 2 million years old? They don't. They'll tell you that they do, but they don't. There is no other explanation. I don't want to get too far into radiometric dating, but it's completely wrong. So it's just the way it is. And they got the numbers up there. You look at it and you think those are fairly consistent. I mean, not consistent, but fairly accurate numbers. So 255 million, 251 million. They made sure to put that one in there. If you put 6 zeros on the back of that, then you get to really realize that that is not that accurate of a number. When they say 250 million, I mean, I saw some that said 251, 250, 238, 237. It's like, how do you know 238 versus 251? You have no idea. But they'll put that in there, and they just want you to explain this is the evolutionary origin. They came by so many, whatever they want to say. Anyhow, as I'm reading through Wikipedia, which I do not recommend, well, yeah, unless you're going to present Sunday school. All right, this is one of the things that I saw as I was reading. All right, crocodiles have acute senses. an evolutionary advantage that makes them successful predators. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Except it's an evolutionary advantage but that they have acute senses. So that means that it had to develop over time, does it not? Evolutionary advantage, it has to develop over time. So each of these senses, the crocodiles, it explains it really deep. They have good vision, good hearing, good smelling, good taste, and touch. All the scales on their back are actually touch. If you had all those acute senses, you'd have to have them all well built at the same time. So if we're coming into the same time and having all that stuff built, that's not evolving, that's being created with all that stuff in there. And that's what it was. Anyhow, all right, one of my other, I didn't get too deep into this, with their, a whole bunch of words, with their habits. Crocodiles are often thought of as being unchanged from when dinosaurs roamed the land hundreds of millions of years ago. Wow. So the the crocodile has been unchanged for hundreds of millions of years. Doesn't that make sense? If he knows his little area, why would he need to change over 100-something million years? Are you kidding me? He hadn't changed? That's kind of the whole point behind evolution, isn't it? Change. But nope. He hasn't changed over several 100 million years, whatever. That's just what they say. All right, so let's go back over a few of these things that I'm doing pretty good, that I've kind of broke out to you. The size of the crocodile, the biggest reptile on the planet. If you think of that size, what if he was smaller? Could he still do exactly what he does in his environment? No, he has to be that size, that big, right from the very start. He has the webbed feet there at the bottom. His little webbed feet that help him spring out of his ambush predation. If he didn't have that, he wouldn't be able to catch as many animals, you know what I mean? If he wouldn't be able to explode out of his ambush position, what's he gonna eat? How's he gonna survive? His teeth, they have all those different teeth. They can come in 50 different times plus over the whole course of their life. Their teeth are curved too. What if their teeth were straight or serrated or split? What if they bit something with that giant biting force and it just split the thing that they were eating? Whatever it is just goes away, you know? It loses whatever body part that was. Now, if it was the head, that's a different thing, but all right, it's also got the throat flap in there. What if it didn't have that throat flap? What if it had to develop it over time? It would have been swallowing all kinds of water and would have drowned. It had to have it. What about the third eyelid? If it didn't have that other eyelid and it got poked in the eyes or something like that, it wouldn't even been able to keep the water out. He can close his nose and its ears. What if he couldn't do that underneath? Did he have to develop that over time? After each one drowned, well, we need to do something about that. He keeps on drowning, so nose and ears closure. He's an ambush predator too. If he was an ambush predator, what if he was on the ground and just kind of looking at things and saw something to eat? They can only run like 11 miles an hour, which isn't really that fast on land, but in the water they're really fast. But if they're in this soupy looking water that you can't even see the bottom out of, that's where they live. That's where they ambush things out of. What if they couldn't do that? They wouldn't get as much food, they would die. The bite strength that we talked about, bite strength of that thing is greater than any other animal on the planet. If he didn't have that bite strength with those curved teeth, could it get away? Yeah, you get away. All those different things that I've just talked about. This list is by no means exhaustive at all. This is just a few things that I threw out there for you. Are all those systems, do you have to have them all at the same time? What do you think? Yeah, you absolutely have to have them all at the same time. You can't develop them. So could they develop over time? No, the thing would have died. So what does that mean? What's the alternative? For it not developing over time, what's the alternative then? Creation. That's exactly what it is. You got to be used to that, seeing the different things that are there. It's like, can you develop that over time? Of course not, and it goes for every animal that's out there. Could it have done that over time, or would it have died in the process? And you can't pass on things when you're dead. Anyway, the alternative is God made them all, and that's exactly what it is. God made them all. All right. Yeah, all right. So, does anybody got any questions? Got it all? Yes, ma'am.
Is it, if you happen to be bit, is there a first aid or emergency plan to get out of there?
Bit by,
Because I've heard about,
are you talking about the alligator or crocodile?
well, I'm asking crocodile. I know,
Oh.
I've heard about alligators. I don't know if it's true. And you know if it's true, where they say if you get caught, you poke them in the eye. That's what I've heard from Floridians.
Well, if a Floridian said that, then maybe go with what a Floridian said, but
Don't really know how to go.
they don't have any crocodiles in Florida, though, luckily.
So is there, or is that
I haven't heard that one, but one thing that I have heard, though, that actually is true, you know they swallow rocks? Do y'all know that? Everybody heard that? Yeah. Crocodiles, alligators, they swallow rocks, for real. For digestion, yeah, that's up there.
Giant chickens?
They could eat giant chickens, sure.
No, I'm saying like they're like a giant. It's not evolutionary, so don't get
Because they evolved from chickens, you know? Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
dogs? I've heard of dogs swallowing rocks because they were so hungry and they couldn't find anything to eat, so they ate rocks.
They actually do that. They bounce it around inside there to mash up whatever's in there. For your question, though, wait a minute, what was your question?
If you're ever caught, is there a way to get out?
Oh, yeah, if you get bit by a crocodile, yeah, is there a way to get out? No. Don't get bit by a crocodile.
Don't plan on it. I was just wondering.
I'm just saying, no, there is no escape. So once that happens, just wait for the death roll. All right. Anyway, all right, so I think we're about done. So let's go on to our next little section here, and appreciate y'all being here.